Alright, so for this assignment, it's going to be 20 task cards over distributive property. You all just watched the video on Monday, November 2nd, on how to do distributive property. And what I'm going to do is work the first 10 problems, the first 10 cards for you all, so that way you all can see how to do the distributive property if the video didn't explain it enough to you. Okay, so I'll do the first 10, and then after that you will do the last 10 cards on your own. But make sure you are typing in your answers in these answer boxes. Okay, so I'm going to go along the first 10, so everybody should have the first 10 done because I am working them for you and you'll have the correct answers. But then the last 10 you all will have to try out on your own, okay? And if you ever have any questions, you can always private comment me or email me. We can always set up a Google Meet, or we can try to work through it through private commenting or emailing. That's up to you. Okay, so for the first one, we have 6 parentheses 1 plus 9n. Now, that 6 that is beside the parentheses, that means we're dealing with multiplication on that part. So with distributive property, and I'm going to switch over to my other camera. All right, zoom this in. All right, so on distributive property, what we're doing is we're distributing out that 6 with both of the terms on the inside of the parentheses. So since that 6 beside the parentheses means multiplication, because remember when we were dealing with the like number and letters touching, that it meant multiplication. Same thing with the number and the parentheses touching. So when I distribute out my 6 to my 1, that means I'm taking 6 times 1. Okay, that plus sign on the inside tells me that that's going to go next, plus, and now I'm distributing out my 6 with my 9n, so I'm taking 6 times 9n. So all I'm really doing is just taking 6 times 9 right now, and when I do 6 times 9, that gives me 54 n, because I have an n right there. I'm taking 6 times 9n, so 6 times 9 gives me 54, and then the n just goes right with it. All right. So after that, well, actually, I probably should have showed you all. Hold on. Here's what I'm doing. I'm taking 6 times 1 plus 6 times 9n. So then when I would work that out, I would get 6 plus 54n. All right. So on the next one, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm kind of going to use some different colors to kind of show you like what exactly I'm doing if you are still confused from that one. But first, what you have to do is you need to go back, and the answer to this one was 6 plus 54n. All right, card number 2. So we've got 2 times 3x plus 3, or 2 parentheses 3x plus 3. So heading on back over. All right, so my 2 is what I am distributing out with my terms on the inside of my parentheses. So I'm distributing out my 2 with the 3x. So when I do that, I'm taking 2 times 3x plus, and then I'm going to distribute out my 2 again with my 3 this time, my last term. So that means I'm taking 2 times 3. So what you have to remember is that the number on the outside of your parentheses distributes out with both terms on the inside, both of them, okay? Not just one of them, but both. So that's why I'm taking my 2 times 3x plus 2 times 3. Okay, that 2 multiplies by both terms on the inside. So when I do that, I'm taking 2 times 3x. So 2 times 3x gives me 6x plus, and then I'm taking my 2 times 3, which gives me 6. Now, I didn't explain this on the last one, but I'm going to explain it on this one. We cannot add these any further because these are not like terms. You're going to learn more about that in our next lesson, about like unlike terms and like terms. But in this situation, these are not like terms. This one has a variable, but this one does not. So we can't add them together since they're not like terms. This is a constant. Constant doesn't have any variables, and this one does have a variable with it, okay? So they can't add together, so that's why that would be our answer. The reason that we can multiply these two, even though they're not like terms, is because multiplication and division are the exception in this situation. So I can multiply unlike terms, but I can't add or subtract unlike terms, okay? So that's why this is our answer, because we can't go any further than that. You can't add those together. You can multiply, but you can't add them, okay? All right, so that answer was 6x plus 6. All right, next one, we've got 9 parentheses 3b plus 8. All right, so my 9 is my number I'm distributing out with the ones on the inside, with the terms on the inside. So first I'm taking 9 times 3b plus 9 times 8. All right. First, I'm going to work out my 9 times 3b. So 9 times 3b, if you take 9 times 3, that'll give you 27, and then my b goes with that. Plus 9 times 8, which is 72. And since those aren't like terms, we cannot add them together. So that is our answer. So we've got 27b plus 72. All right. The next one, we're going to take 8 parentheses 1 plus 3r. All right. So I'm distributing out my 8 with both terms on the inside of my parentheses. So first I'm distributing out my 8 with my 1. So that means I'm taking 8 times 1 plus my 8 and my 3r, which is 8 times 3r. Okay, so first I gotta work out my 8 times 1, which will give me 8. plus my 8 times 3r. So 8 times 3 is 24. And then just put my r with that. So 8 plus 24r is my answer. Since they're not like terms, I cannot go any further with this. I can't add these together. So that is why my answer is the way it is. So 8 plus 24r. All right, so there's that page. We already did that together, so let's go on to the next. Got cards 5 through 8. Now remember, I'm only going to do the first 10 with you all, okay? First 10 cards. And then you all are going to do the rest on your own, which is only 10 more. Okay, next we've got 4 parentheses 2 plus 8b. Alright. So my 4 is what I'm distributing out with my terms on the inside, my parentheses. So first my 4 is going to get distributed out with my 2, which means I'm taking 4 times 2 plus, and then I'm distributing my 4 out with my 8b, which means I'm taking 4 times 8b. Alright, well first I got to work out my 4 times 2, which will give me 8 plus, and I'm taking 4 times 8b, so 4 times 8 will give me 32, and then just put my b with that. Alright, so since those aren't like terms, we cannot add them together, so that is my answer, 8 plus 32b. Alright, let's work on the next one. This one's going to be a more challenging one since we've got bigger numbers. We're dealing with double-digit numbers, but that's okay. So I'm taking 12 parentheses 9b plus 11. Alright, my 12 is the number I'm distributing out with my terms on the inside of the parentheses. So first I'm distributing out my 12 with my 9b. So I'm taking 12 times 9b plus, and then I'm distributing out my 12 again with my 11 this time. Which means I'm taking 12 times 11. Alright, so we got to work out our 12 times 9b first. So 12 times 9 gives me 108, and put my b with that, plus, and take 12 times 11, which is 132. So since these aren't like terms, we cannot add these. So 108b plus 132 is my answer. All right, moving on to card 7. So I'm taking 10 parentheses 1 plus 2x. All right. So my 10 is my number I'm distributing out. So first I'm distributing 10 with my 1. So that means I'm taking 10 times 1 plus, and then I'm going to distribute out my 10 again with my 2x this time, which means I'm taking 10 times 2x. All right. So first I got to work out 10 times 1. So 10 times 1 is 10. Thus, 10 times 2x. So 10 times 2 gives me 20, and then my x will just go with my 20. So 10 plus 20x. Again, those are not like terms, so we cannot add those together. So that is our answer. m plus 20x. All right, next one. 12 parentheses 1 plus 6v. All right, so 12 is what I'm distributing out. So I'm distributing my 12 with my 1 first. So I'm taking 12 times 1 plus, and then distribute out my 12 with my 6v. So that means I'm taking 12 times 6v. Okay, so first I work out my 12 times 1, which gives me 12. And then do my plus sign, and take 12 times 6v, which 12 times 6 is 72. And then put my v with that because I got my v there. And that is my answer, 12 plus 72v. Since they're not like terms, we cannot add them any further. All right. That was card number 8. So now I'm going to move on to the next one. I'm only on these top 2 are the last 2 I'm doing with you all. And then after that, you'll start from here and do the rest of your pages. Since we're recording on here, I'm probably going to delete page 6. So when I assign this to you all, if you see it says 5 pages, that's fine because I'm going to end up deleting the last page. Since you're recording on these cards, we don't need a recording sheet on the last page. All right, next one. We've got 3 parentheses 3v plus 9. All right. So distribute out my 3 with my 3v first. That means I'm taking 3 times 3v plus, distribute out my 3 with my 9, so 3 times 9. Alright, so first I gotta take 3 times 3v, so 3 times 3 gives me 9, put my v with that, plus, and then take 3 times 9, which gives me 27. Since these aren't like terms, we cannot add these, so that is our answer. 9v plus 27. All right, and the last one I'm going to work with you all. So I've got 14 parentheses 1 plus 8b. Okay. So remember, first I distribute out my 14 with my 1, which means I'm going to take 14 times 1, and then plus, then distribute out my 14 with my 8b, which means I'm going to be taking 14 times 8b. All right, so first I work out my 14 times 1, which gives me 14, plus, and 14 times 8b, so when I take 14 times 8, that gives me 112, and then put my b with that. So since they aren't like terms, we cannot add those, which means this is our answer, 14 plus 112b. All right, and that's all I'm going to work out with you all. I did 10 of these, so I did half of the task cards for you all. So all you have to do is just do the other half for me after you get all these typed in. You do have to type in all of these that I did, okay? And then continue on to do the rest on your own. Remember, if you ever have any questions, get a hold of me, private comment me, email me, and we can set up a Google Meet, or we can, work them out through the private comments or emails, okay? You can also look back on this video to see how I was doing these problems if you get stuck on remembering how to do them. All right? If you need, I recommend getting a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen to work these out on. Okay, it's kind of hard to do all of this in your head. It is a lot easier to have it right there in front of you on paper, but you do not have to if you don't want to. I just recommend it because it's easier that way. All right, well, that's all I've got for this. Just make sure you get the rest of these finished and turned in, please. Thank you.